Hello, friends. Once again, I welcome you for my class on Introduction to Plasma Physics. Right, friends, you know that I'm also associated with your elective paper for this academic year, and the code of this paper, you know that it is Physics 5401, and I'm associated with Unit 2 and Unit 3. Unit 1, you know, already Professor Gupta sir is taking your Unit 1 and he has already explained the plasma state. So, as far as my topics are concerned, I would like to teach a single particle dynamics. This is known as your Unit 2, and you have a Unit 3 that is a chapter related to the plasma production and industrial applications of plasma physics. Well, friends, before I start the session, let me give some brief outline of the textbook which we would like to use. Uh, I would like to recommend the textbook first of all is Introduction to Plasma Physics and Control Fusion by F.F. Chen. It's a very well-known book in plasma physics and you are familiar. And then I would like to recommend Fundamental of Plasma Physics by Bittencourt. This is a very important book in plasma physics and very interesting also. Then I would like to suggest The Fourth State of Matter, Introduction to Plasma Physics by Eliezer. That is an IOP publications. And we have one more book, Elementary Plasma Physics, that is by Rizomovich. It's a very well-known book in plasma physics. And you have to also refer a plasma, the fourth state of matter by D.A. Frank, and it is Macmillan Press Publications. In addition to this textbook, I would like to also suggest you please also refer a textbook of plasma physics by Suresh Chandra. I would like to request you people, please refer a textbook of plasma physics by Suresh Chandra, and the publisher is CBS Publisher and Distributor. So you please note down a textbook of plasma physics by Suresh Chandra, CBS Publishers and Distributed Private Limited. This book is also very important. And as far as your single particle dynamics, your unit number 2, I will follow this book, that is the Plasma Physics by Suresh Chandra, a single particle dynamics. So all the notations which we will follow will be based on the textbook by Suresh Chandra. Well, friends, with this introduction, we would like to proceed further. You see, I said that there are two units I would like to teach, right? Unit number 2 and unit number 3. So there will be two questions from these two units. And as such, you require each unit you require at least 10 to 11 class. So that we will justify and we will understand the single particle dynamics first. So let us proceed further now. You see, I start now uh, uh, with unit number 2, and you know that unit number 2 is known as single particle orbit theory. Dear friends, you know that you have studied the plasma state. As you know that plasma is a mixture of discrete charged particles, and we treat plasma as a quasi-neutral gas which exhibits collective behavior. So you have basically a plasma state is basically an ionized state of matter which is consisting a group of charge and neutral particles is a discrete charge particles. So you have a positive ions, you have electrons and neutral particles, or you may have the neutral particles. So there are three components in plasma, and you have studied in chapter number 1 that all ionized gas are not in plasma state. So if you have any ionized gas, and if it is a plasma state, if it is in a plasma state, then it follows several criteria for the plasma states. And you have studied this criteria. I will not go in detail, but these are the criteria which I would like to once again suggest. That first thing is the Debye length of plasma, which you know that depends upon the density of plasma, temperature of plasma. Density of plasma means number of particles per unit volume. You have ion density in plasma, you have electron density in plasma, you have neutral particle. So there are three parameters. Ni, which I indicates for ion, Ne, E indicates for electron, and I can write down N, subscript N, I can say that is a number particle density of the neutral particle. You see, plasma state is, you see, it's a quasi-neutral. It's not quasi means semi-neutral. Semi-neutral means you can see the condition which I wrote here first is Ni is equal to Ne. That is the number density of electron is equal to the number density of ion. I mean to say that there is no excess of positive charges at any point in plasma. There is no excess of negative charge in plasma. This condition is known as the condition for quasi-neutrality, and each charged particle of plasma is interacting with the other charged particle through the Coulombic forces. Of course, you know that this Coulombic forces is having the long range forces, but in case of plasma, the field of each charged particle is extended up to a certain distance. That distance is considered as the Debye length. So if I have any charged particle, and if you find out is the field, effective field in a plasma state, so you will have to find out its Debye length. So I mean to say that there is a property of plasma that whenever you introduce any external charge in the plasma state, the plasma always shield the external charge which you have introduced in the plasma state. I will you please understand this. So suppose if I have a plasma state and if there is some charge which is introduced externally, you see that plasma is a quasi-neutral, so that the external charge which you have introduced is surrounded by the opposite charges. Suppose you have introduced a positive charge, then this positive charge will be accumulated by the negative charges. It will form the sphere of that charges, that, and the radius of that sphere is treated as Debye sphere, and the length of this sphere, the length of this radius is called the Debye length. I will not go in detail because it is discussed in chapter number 1. So the Debye length is basically a parameter of plasma. Plasma is characterized by this parameter. It is characterized by temperature of plasma. It is characterized by debye length of the plasma, and debye length of the plasma is always less than the dimension of the plasma. This is the linear dimension of the plasma. If you have a container of plasma having size L, length, breadth, and height is L, 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 right? So it's the dimension of plasma, I would say. So condition is that if a debye length is very much smaller than the dimension of plasma, and you see the most important concept in plasma is a collision frequency. Your electron collides with ions also. Your electron collides with electron also. So there is a charge particles. So your electron is interacting via the Coulombic forces. So your electron interacts with an ion. So you have a electron ion interaction, right? Then you have a electron electron interactions. So there are various interactions are there. So we have to take care about this collision. So collision frequency, the number of times a electron collides with an ion, right? It is characterized by the collision frequency. Number of times electron collides with an suppose an ion. So that frequency is known as the collision frequency. The collision frequency should be less than the plasma frequency because each particles, charged particles of the plasma state is oscillating with its natural frequency in the plasma state. This is known as plasma oscillations. And I hope that it is covered in unit number 1. What is a plasma oscillation? Every charged particle in plasma, it is having a translation motion at the same time. It is also oscillating about its new position with its natural frequency, and the natural frequency of plasma state depends upon the density of plasma, and it is inversely proportional to the mass of the electron. And so if mass of electron is very small, so you see the density, I'm sorry, plasma frequency is very high. So our our criteria says that the effective electron collision, this is collision frequency. Effective electron collision frequency means number of times your electron collides with the heavy particles per second, or electron collides with other particles per second, is defined as a collision frequency, and this collision frequency is playing very important role in plasma state that we will study when we go for detailed analysis of the plasma state. Today we have an introduction and we study this. So this collision frequency is always less than the plasma frequency. So if any ionized gas which satisfies these three criteria, then it is known as it is in the plasma state. So this is clear. And now you see we proceed further that if you want to study the plasma state, you can study the plasma state in the two different approaches. You have a microscopic study and you have a macroscopic study. As the name microscopic study, we study the trajectory or we study the motion of each charged particle separately, individually, I would say. So you see here I wrote that the nature of the trajectory or orbit of each particle under external or internal electric and magnetic field is conceived. So here friends, you see we study each particle separately. We study its equation of motion because you have in plasma state, when plasma is charged particle is moving, a moving charge always produce a current and moving current always produce a magnetic field. So plasma has its own internal magnetic field. At the same time, you can also apply external electric field, external magnetic field. So when you apply external electric field or an external magnetic field, a charged particle will experience a force and there will be equation of motion, the trajectory of that particle. So we study the trajectory of charged particle, that is known as the orbit theory. So here we want to study in this chapter orbit theory, we want to understand that each charged particle of plasma, suppose you have electron, if it is moving in the internal magnetic field of the plasma state, and if it is moving with external magnetic field of the plasma state, how electron is responding to the magnetic field, internal magnetic field as well as the external magnetic field. We want to study the very important characteristic of plasma today. So we will proceed further. You see here also. So here you see what we have to consider, and collision and other interaction among the charged particles are neglected. So when electron is interacting, so the interaction of electron uh, is neglected here. So you please remember when you study this chapter, we will study that the charge particle interactions are neglected. The electron interaction with an ion, electron interaction with other electrons, these interactions are neglected. As I said, the plasma is, of course, it is complex. We have to study electron interaction, electron ion interaction, electron neutral particle interactions, right? So these interactions are neglected. The collisions is neglected here. So this is you have to take care in a single particle approach. This approach is only valid for low density plasma. Please remember, this approach is applicable for low density plasma and high temperature. Because I will teach you, when you increase the temperature of plasma, the collision frequency, I said mu, not plasma frequency. There are two frequencies we will refer in plasma physics. We have a collision frequency in plasma and we have a plasma frequency. Plasma frequency is a natural frequency of oscillations, which is plasma is also the particles of also. We have a electron plasma oscillations, we have a ions plasma oscillation. So if you, as I said, that the oscillation frequency, the plasma oscillations, the frequency depends upon the density of plasma. Stronger the density, greater that plasma frequency will get. At the same time, if the mass, it is inversely proportional to the mass of the electron. As the mass of the electron is very small, plasma frequency is very large. So please remember, this is very important thing you should keep in your mind, that we use for a low density plasma and high temperature, because at the high temperature the frequency, collision frequency is less. That we will see. I will teach you why you, when you increase the temperature of plasma state, the frequency, collision frequency decreases, and that we will see. That's a high temperature plasma. And temperature of plasma we generally refer as thermal temperature. It's not a temperature, because whatever the temperature we are familiar is, we measure the degree of hotness generally, and we measure how hot the substance is. Here your temperature of plasma is not measured degree of hotness, but it is measuring how fast your particle is moving. That means the temperature is calibrated in terms of kinetic energy, and I know that it is given in unit number 1. And you see there is a conversion factor, that 1 electron volt, right, is corresponds to temperature of 11,600 degree Kelvin. This you should remember, and you should calculate this. There is a exercise given in FFJ textbook, that the if you have the plasma, a electron plasma or an ion plasma, whose energy is 10 electron volt, its corresponding temperature is can be calculated by using a conversion factor of 1 electron volt is 11,600 degree Kelvin, where this temperature is known as a kinetic temperature. Kinetic temperature is a temperature which is measured in terms of kinetic energy, because you have a very well-known expression. You see, per degrees of freedom, the energy of the particle is one half kT, and its kinetic energy equal to 1/2 mv square. So you can compare 1/2 kT equal to 1 by mv square, and you can find out kT in terms of mv square. This is known as kinetic temperature. And you see, this is very useful because much information about the behavior of plasma is obtained. A single particle approach is very useful, but there is a limitation of this single particle approach. And this limitation, please note down that it is not used in a complex problem where the orbits of many particles have to be considered. So when instead of taking a one particle, there are many particles and you have to consider the orbits of many particles and you want to study the collective behavior. Plasma is basically having two very important property. It is quasi-neutral and having a collective behavior. That is discussed in chapter number 1. So I will not discuss because it has been already taught by Professor Gupta sir. So you please remember that you have a collective behavior in plasma, right? So you see that collective behavior as well as the quasi-neutrality are the conditions for the plasma state, and that's why this particular limitation you have to take care. And now let us try to understand the macroscopic study. We study as a whole, right? Is a gross behavior of plasma. We study gross behavior here. That means we consider plasma as a fluid. So we have a cocktail, I would say. We have mixture of three fluid. We have iron, iron plasma. You have iron component, electrons, as well as neutral particles. So we have a mixture of three different fluids, and all these groups are staying together. See, you see, this is the questions of your, as when you are staying in your society, there are many tenants, and all are staying together. They are all having different nature, but they stay together. They cooperate with each other. The same thing is happening in plasma state. You have an electron, their nature is different. They are more mobile, right? Their kinetic energy, they are moving very fast. You look at the ions are sluggish, lazy. They are not moving very fast. Their mobility is poor. Electron mobility is large. You have a neutral particles there, so that tendency is different. So they all are having a different nature, but they are all staying together. They always there is a cooperation with these three groups. This is known as collective behavior, which I would say. And this, because of this, we study plasma as a gross behavior. And here we taking the account of particle interaction. As I said, in a single particle approach, we don't study, we ignore the electron interaction, electron ion interaction, electron neutral particle interaction. But here you have to study that when you are writing the equation, some equation of motion for electron, you have to also include that this electron is interacting with ion also, this electron is interacting with another electron, or this electron is interacting with a neutral atom or a neutral molecule, which is, sorry, a molecule which is present in the plasma state. So you have to consider this interaction when you are considering macroscopic study as a plasma state. See, and this interaction, you see, basically you have collision. And if there are collision, then there are elastic collision and there are non-elastic collision. So this type of collisions is playing very important class, and this is the very important problem in plasma state. And you see, plasma is very high temperature. This collision is the collision rate is low. But if plasma is at a low temperature, the collision plays very important part, and you have to take care about the collision. You see, when your electron charge particle interaction, that is a long range collision, that is a Coulomb interaction. And then you see the neutral particle interaction. Charge particle means electron ion interaction, electron interaction, ion interactions in plasma state is known as charge particle interaction, and this is known as the long range collisions. And similarly, you have to also consider the short range collision. There is neutral particles. You have a two neutral atom in plasma state which is not ionized, because you have three component in plasma. You have the plasma is not always fully ionized. Yeah, there are certain cases where plasma is fully ionized. A partially ionized gas, if it obeys the conditions for the plasma state, can be treated as a plasma. So here you see this short range collision you should consider. And there is one more thing: charged particles are neutral particles through complex. So this behavior, you see the charged particles and neutral particles, you have to study this interaction. A charged particle, that is an electron, interacts with the neutral particles because of some polarization field. You see in plasma state, there is an effect of polarization in plasma, because you see, please try to understand, when you have the plasma state and electrons in plasmas are moving, ions are moving, so they produces the electric field, and whenever there is a electric field, there is a process of polarization. So you may have a polarization effect in plasma state, and because of this polarization field, you have to study the interaction. So you know this macroscopic of study of plasma is more complex, while microscopic study of plasma is not so complex, because we study temperature, we study higher temperature plasma. And you see, when you want to understand the plasma as a gross behavior, you don't study individual particle. When you study the gross behavior of plasma, there is a one fundamental equation which we use, that is known as the Boltzmann transports equation, which we will discuss when we will have a unit number 3. I would like to discuss what is the Boltzmann transport equation, what is its applications, and how one can use the Boltzmann transport equation to describe the plasma state, a collective behavior of plasma, and we can study the macroscopic study of plasma. So with this brief introduction of a plasma physics, we study plasma as a orbit theory, single particle approach, where we study each particle separately without considering its interaction with their neighbors, and or you consider a group of particles moving together and considering the interactions, and then you have basically considered as a macroscopic study of plasma. So, dear friends, this chapter is basically dealing with the microscopic study. We want to study single particle orbit theory, and we want to describe when a charged particle is moving in the uniform electric field, in the uniform magnetic field, what is its characteristic, how it is moving in plasma, and we want to write down equation of motion of each particle, either it is an electron or either it is an ion. You see here we consider the external magnetic field. We have an internal magnetic field, internal electric field of plasma state. But right now, when we study this chapter, we will first try to understand that let us apply external electric field, external magnetic field, and try to understand the behavior of plasma. You see, our basic problem is to study the confinement of plasma, and we would like to confine the plasma by applying the magnetic field, and that's our interesting problem. So, before we study that confinement of plasma and plasma applications and thermonuclear reaction, because you can you can set up a tokamak in the laboratory, and you can have a process of fusion which is occurring at the I mean, at the interior of the sun, can be reproduced in the laboratory, and you can have another sun in the laboratory, which we consider as an Aditya tokamak, which you are familiar, and you must have observed this Aditya tokamak at Institute of Plasma Research. Of course, so will study this production, thermonuclear reaction, industrial application of plasma. We will see in unit number 3, but right now we will concentrate to understand motion of each individual charge particle, and we will describe it under its equation of motion. and we will derive some conclusions. And you see, basically, I want to show you that plasma is a diamagnetic substance. I would say diamagnetic. And you see, that is we would like to understand that when you apply external magnetic field, plasma always opposes the external magnetic field which is applied to that. We will discuss. So let us understand the first portion is a particle in a uniform magnetic field. Of course, this you have already studied at your first year BSc, and you know you have studied the cyclotron motion and where you have derived the equation. But since it is in your syllabus, we will describe these notations, and you see we want to understand in detail and we want to characterize each particle in plasma state. So you see, consider that you have a, a, a Cartesian coordinates, you have a plasma state, and you please remember that you apply the magnetic field along the plasma and the magnetic field is applied along z directions. Please remember, you have the plane of this paper. You can see the plane of your monitor is considered as an xy plane, and a direction which is coming normally outward from the plane of your monitor or your smartphone or your plane of a paper is your z direction. So please remember that you have to deal with the motion of charged particle, and we want to find out the motion of equation of motion for charged particle. Either the charge is plus q, that is considered as the ion charge, and you may have minus q. So I will use the symbol q instead of e. If you refer the FF change textbook, probably they have used the notation of the charge is small e. So that is immaterial. You see, you can concentrate both the book. But this I'm taking from Suresh Chandra. Please remember that you have the magnetic field which is applied along z direction, because it does not have a x component, it does not have a y component. So here I write down V is equal to Bzk, right? So it is equal to B, Bz equal to B. So you are simple, this you can write magnetic field is along the z direction. And please consider a particle of mass m, charge q with velocity v is subjected in the plasma, is subjected in the magnetic field. This you can say. So particle will experience the Lorentz force. The Lorentz force experienced by the particle is F equal to Q times V cross V. This is known to you, right? So I write this equation. It is nothing simple. You see, I mean, it is very simple. It is F equal to Q into V cross V, where V is the velocity of the particle. You may subject particle in XY plane having some initial velocity, or you may have initial velocity 0, but consider the particle is subjected in such a manner that it is having some initial velocity, and if it is particle is subjected, then it will experience the Lorentz force is given by q, where q is a charge carried. It can be positive if it is electron, I'm sorry, it can be positive if it is a ion, and if it is negative if it is electron. So I write this F is equal to mass time acceleration. Acceleration is the rate of change of velocity, so I write m into dv by dt equal to q into v cross v. This is known to you, right? So now you see this equation, and v is a velocity. It is x component, vxi, vyj, and vzk. You see that vzk, this velocity component vz, is along the direction of the applied magnetic field. Vz is a component of a particle velocity is along the direction of applied magnetic field. So it is parallel. So it is sometimes referred as a parallel component of the velocity. Please remember, it is known as parallel component of the velocity of particle velocity. And you see this is Vx and Vy, since x directions and y direction is transverse to magnetic field. So these are transverse component. is a perpendicular components, and you see that Vx, Vy we will define when we study this. I'll let you know how one can write these perpendicular components, and we will have a notation which is known as the V perpendicular components are basically Vx and Vy. So now you see, friends, you can see I wrote this equation. So I'm writing M, and this is d by dt, and I write down V equal to Vxi plus Vy plus Vzk equal to Q, and V cross B is basically a vector product of vector V with a vector B. So this is the vector product of V. So I write down the vector product with the determinant ijk, Vx, Vy, Vz, Vx, Vy, Vz, right? And you put the value of Vx, Vx is 0 because we don't have the component of magnetic along x direction. Vy is Vz is B, right? So I write down the left hand side is simple. D by dt of Vx is Vx dot. Vx dot, this dot indicates time derivative of the velocity. That is famous. Similarly, Vy dot, it is a time derivative of velocity. Vz dot is a time derivative of velocity. So it is equal to Q times I Vy B minus this. This is known to you because you have to solve this determinant and you can write this. So ultimately, you see this equation, you get Vx dot I Vy dot j Vz dot k equal to Q by, because I divide by m both the sides. And now once you know this equation, you compare the coefficient of the ith vector, compare the coefficient of the jth unit vector. Okay, please remember this. I have this equation. So here, if I compare the coefficient of the ith vector, so I can say that Vx dot is equal to, I can write down Bq divided by m into Vy. Vx dot, that is a time derivative of x component, is, we can write down Bq upon m into Vy. Similarly, Vy dot we can write down minus Bq divided by m into Vx. There is a minus sign here. And Vz dot is 0. Obviously, so it is mv. So you can see this is I compare and I write this equation separately. So this is Vx dot, I wrote it here. I write Vy dot, this is, I wrote, this is the time derivative of y component of the velocity, time derivative of x component of the velocity, and this is mvz dot is equal to 0. So vz dot equal to 0. So you see, this is a very important thing which you already studied in the first standard, 12th standard and first year BSc. That mvz is equal, that is dy, that time derivative of vz is 0. That means vz is constant. Vz is constant. Vz is not changing with respect to time. So when a particle is subjected in this magnetic field where it is applied along z direction, the z component of the particle velocity is not changing. It does not experience any force. So the parallel component of the particle velocity is unaffected. So if you are subjecting a particle of plasma along z direction, only along z direction, right, then it will have only z component, then it will never experience a force. But if it is subjected in xy plane, it is fine. So now you see that the vz component is constant. So a particle is, the particle velocity, that is z component of the particle velocity, is unaffected by this magnetic field. Please remember this. See, magnetic field is not doing any work, right? So the particle is the kinetic energy of the particle will not change here. So you see here now the next point here. So I now let us so if I have this equal to 0, so you can see d by dt is equal to 0. I integrate both the sides. This equation, please concentrate this equation. If I integrate both the sides with respect to, so I can say Vz equal to Vz0, and Vz0 is the z component of the initial velocity. I mean to say that if particle is projected in plasma state and if its initial velocity is 0, that is if the z component is 0, If Vz0 is 0, then particle will only describe a circular path that we will discuss. But here, so you can see that Vz0 is the z component of the initial velocity. Please remember d by dt of Vz is 0, integrate with respect to t both the sides. So this will become Vz, and here you have constant of integration Vz0. Vz0 is a constant of integration, and Vz0 is a z component of the initial velocity. When particle is subjected with some initial velocity along z direction. When a particle is subjected in the magnetic field, the particle is possessing some initial velocity along z direction, and that is Vz0. And now you see that Vz0, there is dz by dt is Vz0. So you can find out your z component. Z is the z equal to Vz0 t plus z0. This is basically, again you integrate, and z0 is a constant of integration, because this is very simple, and you people are now BSc student. You don't require explanation for this. I have a dz by dt equal to Vz0. I integrate both the sides. So it is z. And here if you integrate Vz0 with respect to t, that is Vz0 t plus some constant of integration z0, where z0 is a constant of integration, right? And what it indicates, the distance along z-axis changes linearly with time. Distance along z-axis is changing linearly with respect to time. You see, if a particle is subjected along the z direction with the initial velocity equal to Vz0, and if Vx is 0, Vy is 0, then particle will simply move along the field line. But in our case, the particle is also possessing x component as well as y component. And you see there is a Vx dot. So d by dt of Vx is not 0. That means there is a change in Vx. So Vx component is changing. Magnitude is not changing. Please remember, your magnitude is not changing. Its direction is changing here. So because magnetic field does not do any work. So here this is Vx dot. Vx dot is q by, so this d by dt of Vx is non-zero. That means there is a change in Vx. So Vx is changing, right? And change in Vx is that this is the place condition is this. And the condition which I write a Lorentz force. So Vx is changing is such that every time V should be V cross B. The force should be normal to V, and force should be normal to the V. This is the condition that the applied Lorentz force, the Lorentz force, the direction of the Lorentz force is normal to the particle velocity. It is normal to the applied magnetic field, and it is normal to the plane which is accommodating V cross B. And that's why you see this condition should be justified. So there is a change in Vx, but Vx is always changing, but the force is always normal. The particle velocity vector V and particle velocity and magnetic field V. And that's why the Vx is changing harmonically. You see, there is a change of Vx harmonically, and this is the equation of simple harmonic motion. Vx double dot is equal to, because you see this is Vx dot, I have what is Vx dot, which is here. I differentiate with respect to time once again. So this is the double differentiation. So Vx double dot. So you see this I'm writing, and you see this part here. I write down QBM into Vy, and you see I put this value of this Vy. You can see this Vx dot here. Please try to understand these questions here. So you have, this is Vx dot. You see this is Vx dot. So this Vx dot is QMB into Vy, right? And you take Vx double dot. If you take a Vx double dot, it is QBM and Vy dot, and Vy dot is minus QM upon Vx. Please understand this term. This is the first order differentiation with respect to time. So it is Vx dot. So Vx dot is Q divided by M into Vy, right? And now I take double differentiation. So Vx double dot. So it is QV over M into Vy dot. And Vy dot is minus Q divided by M into Vxv. So I write down this here. And so ultimately you get Vx double dot equal to minus QV divided by M whole square Vx. And similarly, Vy dot also you can see this. Vy dot is equal to this, and you take a Vy double dot. Vy double dot is a Vx dot. Again, you put Vx dot, you get this. So ultimately, it indicates that this is the equation of simple harmonic motion. So your Vx is changes harmonically, whose frequency is given by Qb over M. Please remember, this is basically your equation of motion. You see this equation of motion, you are familiar. If a particle is oscillating with frequency omega along y direction, please remember, if a particle is oscillating along y direction with an oscillating frequency omega, this equation of motion is defined by d square y by dt is equal to minus omega square y, where omega is frequency of oscillation. So you see this equation is similar, d by dt, d square by dt square of bx, right? So this is your omega c. So omega c is simply, or omega, we can write cyclotron frequency, which is equal to cyclotron frequency. So omega c is qb divided by m. Here also qb divided by m. So that's why I wrote here that x and y component of velocity have a simple harmonic variation. X and y component of the particle velocity uniform magnetic field has a harmonic variation, and its frequency is given by ratio of product of dq divided by m. So this ratio d into q divided by m is known as the cyclotron frequency. And you see, we will proceed further. For the next lecture, we will discuss this cyclotron frequency. It is known as the Larmor frequency, and you see, we will understand very important concept of the Larmor frequency, and we will establish a equation of motion, and we would like to understand a plasma is behaving like a diamagnetic material in a uniform magnetic field that we would like to see. So here I will stop here, and we shall discuss the behavior of plasma in a magnetic field in the next lecture. Thank you very much.